What y'all figured out, I'm sure, in that montage is precisely cutting out the sides of the lower cabinet and the upper cabinet. And I've got them right here. These are the two sides of the lower cabinet, ready to be sanded, initially sanded, and then dados and rabbets cut into them. And here are, obviously, the upper cabinet. Precisely cut. That's why all the finicky measurements I had to make to get it right. Again, initial sanding, and then we're going to cut dados. But the other tool I mentioned in my previous video that I wanted to talk about is a measure I got from FastCap. It's called the Pro Carpenter. It's the gray one, 16 foot, hefty, righty, lefty, backy, whatever. But the thing of it is for cabinet makers and furniture makers who need to really get precise measurements and lay them down on your workpiece, very close. It has no stiffness to it. It's a flat piece of steel, spring steel or whatever. And if you look at I hope I can get this in camera, look at the demarcations, it's down to a 1/16 of an inch in red. And you can read it lefty or right, or either lefty or righty, or righty, lefty or righty, either way. So I kind of bought these on a whim. I saw them being used by someone. Hey, that's kind of cool. I bought one. I tried it for flat work. It's perfect. I bought a second one, so I got two of them. I got more tape measures and I know what to do with. I use this yellow one occasionally. This is a center finder. This is from U.S. Taps Company, Pro Tape. I don't know, but it's a center finder. At the top scale, which you can't see in camera, is inches, and the bottom scale is half increments. So when you measure across, say, 21 inches, and you want to find the exact center of that easily, there's a 21 mark right in the middle. I use these a lot as well, but two. This FastCap one, though, is just slick. It's really slick. Oh yeah, it has a pencil sharpener built into it. Up here, there's a pencil sharpener built into it. I think all of FastCaps have pencil sharpeners built into them. So now I need to do some initial sanding on these. Final pick the outside visible parts to the human beings, and then set them up for cutting the dados. I'll cut the rabbets first, down the back, here, wherever the back is. That gives me a place to start the router bit. And then we'll cut the dados very, 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 very carefully. I'm about to make the first committal cut to these cherry boards. What I mean by that is I'm cutting the rabbet in the back that's for the backing on this cabinetry, which is going to be beadboard, and inside the center where there's the shelves and the doors will be painted blue. I haven't picked color yet. But once I make these cuts, I'm committed to where these parts go. Now I've marked them, starting with the little ones. I marked them, what side is the back, here, what side is the front, and the orientation of the grain here, so that it looks like, a continuous piece of wood. So I take this piece, I think this is the right one. This is the right one. Maybe not. It's marked back toward the fence, and I go like this. Yep, this is the right piece. These match grain-wise, vertically. That way, this way, the rabbets are going to be on this side, so we know that's the back. Here we go. Oh yeah, and I've set the dado up and done a test cut to make sure the measurements are what I want, which is 3/8 deep, 3/8 this way deep, and then 1/2 inch into the stock. So let's make some noise. That's committed. We now have established the right side and the left side and where the backing is going to go. And next up is the dados I've been talking about for quite a while. The dados for all the dividers and everything. That will be a bit of a setup. So let's get on that and get that set up so I can do it. I'm going to show cutting one set of dados in the sides, which are the right and the left side. What I've done is I've clamped them together instead of using hot glue, so that the dado for the back, excuse me, the rabbet for the back is here. This is book matched, so booked open, and then clamped in place. And I've measured where the dados need to go with, of course, my CAD measurement. Take a look at the picture. And I've marked on either side where the dados are going to sit, with where the jig is going to sit. And I've also checked with the interpieces that go between the inner cabinet with the doors and the side where the little drawers are going to go. This will all make sense at some point. Here, I checked to make sure that these dados here are going to line up with these dados here. Technically, it's going to sit like this, and there'll be dividers between these two, but you got to get the dados right for that to happen. So I've got this set up the way I want it now, so I can cut the dados. Let's pull out the magic jig. Here's the magic jig, 3/4 inch, clamps. And basically, I know that the line is for the bottom, as it says in my drawing. The line is for the bottom of the dado, so I want to line it up so that line is on the bottom of the dado. Clamp that in place, and clamp that in place. There. Now I've got stops in the, wait a minute, let me show you this. I've got stops in the jig right here to stop the router bit at that 3/4 inch point. So I've got that 3/4 inch stop here, stopped dado. So I'm going to put this in again. This is the bottom of the dado, this line. And I got the clamp set so it's nice and tight. I'll line it up. And now I'm ready to make the dados. But I double check to make sure that's exactly what I want. And yes, it is. Now I'm using my AC powered router. I'm not sure about the battery powered. I'm going to have to test the battery powered one as far as making long cuts like this. But we're going to use the tried and true little DeWalt. What number is this? It's the 610. I think a lot of people have the 610. I bought this back when Norm Abrams was using it on New Yankee Workshop. Now, you know about cutting with a router. You put your hand up like this, the workpiece is to that way, and your cut direction is that way. So that's where your workpiece is, and you're going to go in that direction. Well, this is going to be kind of a little bit backwards, because I'm going to cut this side first, pull down, then go over and come back up, go all the way to this end, over and back down again, and hopefully cut this in one fell swoop. So because I have the dado, the rabbet here for the back, the router bit will fit down in there and not touch any wood. So it's just put it in there, turn it on, and start dragging it around. Let's cut a dado. And of course, turn the router off before you pull it out, because if you move the router at a slight angle, you're going to put a divot in your jig. So leaving the camera where it is, let's take the jig off. And there it is. So these dados are now perfectly aligned with each other. the 3/4 inch stop is here. I got to cut the corners out so that the plywood fits snugly. And I got plenty of room for everything. So now I have to go through and cut the rest of these. And these, I think, are the last dados I need to cut. I did the lower cabinet earlier, but I'm going to finish cutting these dados, and then we'll start trying some dry assembly. Oh, I need to do the stopped rabbets down here and down there for the bottom and top divider to sit in place. It goes this way. And I need to build another small jig for doing that correctly. So when I'm ready to do the stopped rabbet that's on the top of the bottom of each of these pieces, I'll go ahead and record that as well so you can see what's going on, and then clean up my mess because that router doesn't have dust collection. I might experiment a little bit with the other router, but I don't want the bit set exactly where I want it, and I don't want to have to take it out and reset it and everything. So let me finish these, and then I'll show you the stop rabbet that's going to be on the ends. Okay, I lied. The next shot is the finished sides. As you can see, got dados, nice, clean. I say again, I got to square the corners for the plywood, the rabbet for the back, and these are kind of ready for trial fits, but I got to do other parts first. So let's go on, and I got to now do those stop rabbets on the bottom and the top of these. To quote Baldric from Blackadder, I have a cunning plan. I took the clamp, moved it up here, so I clamped a single piece in, and have the same jig for cutting the stopped rabbet that I had for the dados. Now, I had clamped things in funny places to keep it from wobbling a little bit, and I'm going to have to, I clamped it to the table saw to keep it from moving, and I may have to do some work with a chisel afterwards because of this clamp I think might be in the way. But let's see if I have a cutting plan and it actually works. Yeah, that worked quite well. So I'm going to move on and do the remaining three. And so I have a way to do the stop rabbet. Now, of course, it still needs some chisel work like all the rest of them do at the end. So there we are. It's working. As I said in the title for a previous video, parts is parts and parts is parts. Everything for the carcasses, the basic shapes of the carcasses, is right here. So the cherry pieces, for the lower cabinet for the small one, the larger top cabinet is the larger pieces. I have on the top of the upper cabinet, there's two larger drawers, and this is the center divider for that. In the lower cabinet, there's 4 drawers, and this is the center divider with a dado for the shelf that's going to that's between the 4 drawers. 2 in the top, 2 in the bottom. These are all of the horizontal dividers for the cabinets, and they are dadoed and cut to the same size and everything, so it should fit together pretty well. These are the horizontal dividers for the upper cabinet drawers that are on either side of the small centerpiece. If you look back at the drawing, you see what I'm talking about. Then there's 2 more horizontal dividers here that go in the lower cabinet to separate the 4 drawers down there, 1, 2, 3, 4. And these are the interdividers, the vertical interdividers. These go between the upper sides and the center where the little cabinet, the door cabinet is. And these dividers fit in these dados right here, just like that. And each one, and there's a drawer in each one. So there's all the parts as parts. And I think I'm going to end this video here. And the next episode, we'll start assembling these things. I may have to tweak a few parts, and like I said, I got to clear out some of the dados, make the round corners square so the plywood fits in there correctly. So until next time, when we start assembling this thing, make great things out of wood. Make them out of cherry.